The greatest battles you will ever face in life are not the ones out in the world, but the ones that take place inside your own mind. Every single day, you are bombarded with emotions. Anger when things don't go your way, fear when you step outside your comfort zone, sadness when you lose something or someone important, frustration when your plans collapse. These emotions are natural, but if you are not careful, they can become chains that hold you back from becoming who you are meant to be. The truth is this: emotions are powerful, but awareness is even more powerful. The moment you become aware of what you are feeling, the moment you can step back and observe yourself, you begin to take the power away from those emotions. Think about it. Most people live on autopilot. Something happens, they react, someone insults them, they explode with anger. They face a challenge. They let fear paralyze them. A disappointment comes and they drown in sadness. They believe emotions control them because they never stop to ask themselves, what am I actually feeling right now? The instant you pause and ask that question, you create a space between yourself and your emotions. That space is where your power lives. Imagine anger rising inside you during a heated conversation. If you are unaware, that anger takes the wheel. You lash out, you say things you regret, and you damage relationships. But if you train yourself to notice it, if you say to yourself, I feel anger coming up, suddenly you are not the anger anymore. You are the observer. And when you are the observer, you are in control. That anger no longer defines you. It simply passes through you like a storm cloud in the sky. This practice of awareness is not about suppressing emotions. Suppressing them only makes them grow stronger and come back harder. Awareness is about acknowledging them, shining a light on them, and then choosing your response. It's like turning on the lights in a dark room. When the room is dark, everything feels threatening. You don't know what's in there. But the moment you flip the switch, the fear disappears. Awareness flips the switch on your emotions. Now, some people will say, but I can't help how I feel. And they're right. You can't always control what emotions arise. You are human, and emotions are part of the human experience, but you can control what you do with them. You can control whether they drive your decisions or whether you drive your own decisions. And that control begins with awareness. When you practice awareness, you begin to notice patterns. You see the triggers that spark certain emotions. Maybe you notice that every time someone criticizes you, you instantly get defensive. Or every time you fail at something, you feel worthless. Once you become aware of these patterns, you can break them. You can step back and say, this criticism does not define me. This failure does not end me. That is the power of awareness. It gives you clarity where once there was only chaos. Let me tell you something powerful. You are not your emotions. You are the one experiencing them. You are not anger. You are the one feeling anger. You are not fear. You are the one experiencing fear. You are not sadness. You are the one moving through sadness. The emotions may visit, but you are the house they visit, and you get to decide how long they stay. The mind is like a muscle, and awareness is the first exercise to strengthen it. At first, it may feel difficult. You may find yourself carried away by your emotions before you even realize it, but every time you notice and name your emotion, every time you say, this is stress, this is frustration, this is anxiety, you are training your mind to step back and see clearly. With practice, it becomes easier. Eventually, it becomes natural. And when awareness becomes natural, your mind becomes stronger than your emotions. This is not just theory, it is practical. Think of the last time you felt fear before making a big decision. If you had been unaware, that fear might have convinced you to quit, to stay small, to protect yourself. But if you had been aware, you could have said, I feel fear, but fear is just a signal. It means I'm stepping into something new. It does not mean I should stop. That one moment of awareness could be the difference between missing an opportunity and transforming your life. Awareness is also the foundation of emotional intelligence, which is one of the most valuable skills you can ever develop. People with high emotional intelligence succeed not because they never feel emotions, but because they recognize them and manage them effectively. They can walk into a stressful situation and remain calm. They can face rejection and not collapse. They can feel anger without letting it destroy them. That is not because they are superhuman, it is because they are aware. So I challenge you today, start practicing awareness. When you feel an emotion rising, don't immediately react. Pause, breathe, name it. Say, this is anger, this is fear, this is sadness, this is joy. Just by naming it, you take back your power. You remind yourself that you are separate from it. You are the one in control. Awareness is power because it is the doorway to choice. Without awareness, you are a slave to your emotions. With awareness, you become the master of them. You begin to act instead of react. You begin to choose instead of be controlled. And when you can choose your response, you can choose your life. Emotions will always come and go like waves crashing against the shore. But if your awareness is strong, you are not tossed around by those waves. You are the lighthouse standing tall, steady, and unshaken. That is the power of training your mind to be stronger than your emotions. And it begins always with awareness. Every one of us has desires. We desire comfort, we desire pleasure, we desire the easy way out when things feel hard. Our emotions will often pull us toward what feels good in the moment, not what will make us strong in the long run. And this is why so many people get stuck where they are. They let their emotions dictate their actions. They wait until they feel like it before they get up, work hard, push forward, or chase their dreams. But here is the truth. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never accomplish anything great. Your emotions want comfort, but discipline demands growth. And growth always lives on the other side of discomfort. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It is choosing long-term reward over short-term relief. It is the voice in your head that says, I know you're tired, but you still have work to do. I know you're scared, but you must still take that step. I know you're discouraged, but you must still keep going. Discipline is not about denying yourself joy. It is about directing your life with purpose rather than letting impulses control you. Think about the strongest people you admire, the ones who seem unshakable. Do you really think they always felt motivated? Do you think they always woke up excited to train, to study, to work, to fight through obstacles? Of course not. They felt fear, fatigue, and doubt just like everyone else. The difference is they didn't let those emotions win. They let discipline lead. Imagine two versions of yourself. One lives by emotions, the other by discipline. The emotional self hits snooze when the alarm rings, skips the gym because it's raining, procrastinates on studying because scrolling through a phone feels easier. The disciplined self gets up regardless of the weather, puts in the reps even when tired, and studies even when distracted. The difference between these two selves is not talent, not luck, not opportunity. It's discipline. And over time, that discipline builds habits, habits build character, and character builds destiny. The problem is that emotions are loud. They shout at you in the moment, stop now, it's too hard, take it easy, you deserve a break, don't risk it, stay safe. Discipline, on the other hand, speaks softly but powerfully. It whispers, keep going, it will be worth it. Push through, the reward is coming. The question is, which voice are you training yourself to listen to? If you let the louder voice of emotions control you, you will always chase comfort and remain stuck. But if you train yourself to hear the quiet but steady voice of discipline, you will rise above those emotions and become unstoppable. Discipline is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use. At first, it feels difficult. You may resist it. You may want to give up. But each time you choose discipline over desire, you strengthen that muscle. Each time you push through when you don't feel like it, you train your mind to follow your decisions, not your emotions. Over time, what was once impossible becomes effortless. What was once painful becomes natural. Here's the key. Discipline is freedom. Most people think discipline is restriction, that it cages you, that it robs you of fun, but the opposite is true. Discipline frees you. Think about it. When you are disciplined with your time, you are free from stress and chaos. When you are disciplined with your money, you are free from debt and worry. When you are disciplined with your health, you are free from illness and regret. Discipline doesn't limit your life, it expands it. It gives you control where emotions would have trapped you. Let me make it practical. Every time you say, "I'll wait until I feel ready," remind yourself that readiness will never come. You train your mind to be stronger than your emotions by acting despite how you feel. You don't go to the gym because you feel motivated, you go because you are disciplined. You don't save money because you feel like it. You save because you are disciplined. You don't study because the mood strikes. You study because you are disciplined. That is how dreams are built. There will be days when your emotions scream at you to quit, days when you are tired, when you are discouraged, when everything in you wants to take the easy way out. Those are the days that matter most, because those are the days discipline is tested. And every time you push through, you build resilience. Every time you refuse to quit, you build strength. Every time you do it anyway, you prove to yourself that your mind is stronger than your emotions. The truth is, anyone can be disciplined when they feel good. The real test is when you don't. And that's when champions are made. Champions aren't the people who only act when it's easy. They're the people who act especially when it's hard. And that kind of discipline doesn't just transform your habits, it transforms your entire life. So stop waiting for emotions to lead you. Stop waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect feeling. They may never come. But discipline is available right now. Discipline says, do it anyway. Do it because it matters. Do it because your future self is counting on you. And when you live that way, day after day, you will look back and realize that every act of discipline built the foundation for your success. Remember this, your emotions want what is easy. Discipline wants what is worth it. If you follow your emotions, you may feel good for a moment, but you will regret it later. If you follow discipline, you may struggle for a moment, but you will be proud forever. So choose discipline. Train your mind to lead your emotions, and watch how far you rise. Your thoughts are the foundation of everything you experience in life. Every choice you make, every emotion you feel, every action you take begins first as a thought. If you want to change your life, you must first change your thoughts. Most people don't realize the power that lies inside their own minds. They believe their thoughts are random, uncontrollable, or harmless. But the truth is, thoughts are like seeds. Whatever you plant and water will eventually grow into the reality you live. Plant fear and doubt, and you will live small. Plant faith and confidence, and you will live bold. The mind is a garden, and the harvest you reap depends on the seeds you choose to plant. The challenge is that emotions often feed off negative thoughts. Fear grows stronger when you keep imagining failure. Anger burns hotter when you replay the insult again and again in your mind. Sadness deepens when you focus only on what you've lost. In other words, your emotions don't come out of nowhere. They come from the stories you tell yourself in your thoughts. And if you don't control those thoughts, the stories will control you. That is why training your mind to guide your thoughts is one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. Let's be honest, negative thoughts will always appear. The mind will always whisper, "You can't do this, you're not good enough. What if you fail? What if you embarrass yourself?" These thoughts are normal. They are part of being human. But just because a thought enters your mind does not mean it belongs there. You are not responsible for the first thought that pops up. You are responsible for the second. You are responsible for what you choose to focus on, repeat, and believe. That is where your power lies. Consider this. If you spend your time thinking about problems, you feel overwhelmed. If you spend your time thinking about possibilities, you feel hopeful. If you think about obstacles, you shrink back. If you think about opportunities, you step forward. The situation may be the same, but your thoughts change how you see it, and how you see it changes how you respond. Two people can face the same setback. One sees it as the end, the other sees it as the beginning of growth. The only difference is the thoughts they choose. This is why it's so important to guard your mind. You don't allow garbage into your body and expect to stay healthy, so why would you allow garbage into your mind and expect to stay strong? The books you read, the conversations you have, the media you consume, these are all feeding your thoughts, and those thoughts will shape your emotions and your actions. If you constantly feed your mind negativity, don't be surprised if your emotions feel heavy. If you constantly feed your mind doubt, don't be surprised if you hesitate to take risks. If you constantly feed your mind excuses, don't be surprised if your life stays the same. But if you feed your mind inspiration, wisdom, and gratitude, you will see life through a stronger, clearer lens. The truth is, you cannot always control what happens outside of you, but you can always control what happens inside of you. Life will bring storms, losses, and difficulties, but how you think about those challenges determines whether they break you or build you. Train your mind to ask empowering questions. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, this is impossible, say, how can I make it possible? The quality of your life will always follow the quality of your thoughts. Now, let me remind you of something powerful. Your brain is wired to focus on survival. That means it naturally pays more attention to threats and problems than to blessings and opportunities. But survival is not the same as living. To live fully, you must retrain your brain to focus on what uplifts you, strengthens you, and moves you forward. This is where daily practices come in. Affirmations, journaling, gratitude, visualization. These are not just motivational gimmicks. They are tools to rewire your thoughts, to take control of the stories in your head, and to shape your emotions into allies instead of enemies. Think about the times when you've pushed through fear. What happened? You changed the story in your head. Instead of thinking, I'm going to fail, you thought, I have a chance to grow. And that one shift in thought gave you the courage to act. Think about the times when you've overcome sadness. What happened? You stopped replaying the loss and started focusing on gratitude for what you still had. That shift in thought lifted your spirit. Every emotional breakthrough you've ever had began with a change in your thinking. This is why training your mind is a daily practice, not a one-time event. Just like a muscle, it weakens without use. You must strengthen it by choosing thoughts that serve you. That doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means framing reality in a way that empowers you instead of paralyzes you. The challenge will always be there. The question is, what thoughts will you bring to meet it? When you learn to control your thoughts, you discover freedom. You no longer let fear control your decisions, anger control your relationships, or doubt control your future. Instead, you become the one in charge. You direct your mind to focus on solutions, to believe in possibilities, and to trust in your ability to grow. And once your thoughts are in your control, your emotions follow, your actions follow, and your entire life follows. So remember this, control your thoughts and you control your life. Guard them, shape them, and direct them. You are not at the mercy of whatever pops into your head. You are the thinker behind the thoughts. And when you choose thoughts of courage, faith, and resilience, you build a mind that is stronger than any emotion and a life that is stronger than any challenge. Life will always present you with situations that trigger emotions. Someone will say something that offends you, a challenge will appear out of nowhere, an obstacle will block your plans, and your emotions will surge in an instant. In that moment, most people react. They lash out in anger, they panic in fear, they give up in frustration. A reaction is automatic. It happens without thought, without control, without intention. But if you want to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, you must learn the difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is driven by impulse, but a response is driven by choice. A reaction often makes the situation worse, but a response has the power to turn it around. When you react, you hand your power over to the moment. You let anger decide your words, fear decide your actions, or sadness decide your perspective. But when you respond, you pause, you breathe, and you choose deliberately how you will handle the situation. That pause makes all the difference. It is a small space, but inside that space lies your greatest strength, the ability to choose your next move instead of being ruled by your emotions. Think about how many regrets come from reactions, harsh words spoken in anger that damaged relationships, hasty decisions made in fear that closed doors of opportunity, quitting in frustration when perseverance might have led to success. All of these are reactions, and once they are made, they cannot be undone. But imagine how different your life could be if you replaced reaction with response. Imagine pausing before speaking, taking a breath before deciding, stepping back before acting. In that pause, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You allow your mind to step into the driver's seat instead of your emotions. The truth is, reacting is easy. Anyone can do it. It takes no training, no control, no wisdom, just a spark of emotion, and you explode. But responding requires strength. It requires the discipline to pause, the awareness to recognize your emotion, and the wisdom to choose a better path. That is why the strongest people are not the ones who shout the loudest or strike the hardest, but the ones who remain calm in the storm. Calmness is not weakness, it is mastery. It is proof that the mind has been trained to rise above the emotions. Let's take an example. Imagine being insulted in public. The natural reaction might be to insult back, to prove your strength, to defend your pride. But what does that accomplish? The argument escalates, respect is lost, and you walk away angrier than before. Now imagine responding instead. You hear the insult, you recognize the sting of anger, but you pause. You breathe. You remind yourself that someone else's words do not define you, and then you respond with calmness, maybe even silence. Suddenly, the situation deflates. The other person loses power over you, and you walk away with your dignity intact. That is the difference between reacting and responding. It is the difference between chaos and control. Responding doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel them. It means acknowledging them without letting them rule you. Anger is not the enemy. It is a signal that something feels wrong. Fear is not the enemy. It is a signal that something feels uncertain. Sadness is not the enemy. It is a signal that something feels lost. The problem comes when you let these signals dictate your actions instead of informing them. Responding means saying, I feel this emotion, but I will decide what to do with it. The greatest leaders, the wisest teachers, the most successful people, all share this ability to respond instead of react. They have trained themselves to remain composed when others panic, to think clearly when others are clouded by emotion, to act with purpose when others are paralyzed by impulse. This skill doesn't just build success, it builds respect. People trust those who remain steady under pressure because steadiness is rare and it is powerful. Of course, training yourself to respond takes practice. The pause doesn't come naturally at first. Emotions are fast and reactions feel automatic. But every time you catch yourself in that moment, every time you feel the surge of anger, the spike of fear, or the wave of sadness, and you pause instead of reacting, you strengthen your ability to respond. It may start with a few seconds of silence before speaking, a single deep breath before acting, or even walking away before deciding. With time, those pauses grow longer, your awareness grows sharper, and your responses grow wiser. Responding instead of reacting is not just about controlling yourself. It is also about creating better outcomes in your life. When you respond, you make choices aligned with your values, your goals, and your vision for the future. You don't let temporary emotions sabotage long-term success. You don't let a 5-second feeling ruin relationships or opportunities. Instead, you act with intention, and intention builds a life of strength and stability. Remember this, every situation offers you two roads: the road of reaction, which is quick but destructive, or the road of response, which is slower but constructive. Reaction is emotion in control. Response is the mind in control. If you want to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, you must choose the second road again and again until it becomes who you are. So the next time life tests you, pause. When someone disrespects you, pause. When fear rises before a big decision, pause. When frustration tempts you to quit, pause. In that pause, breathe, recognize the emotion, step back, and then respond, not with impulse, but with intention. Do this consistently, and you will find that your emotions no longer drive your life. Instead, your mind, calm and steady, will guide you. That is the power of responding, not reacting. It is the power to stay centered in the storm, to rise above your impulses, and to choose a path that serves your highest self. Reactions may be strong, but responses are stronger. And when your responses lead your life, your mind has truly become stronger than your emotions. Life is not a straight road. It is full of twists, turns, bumps, and setbacks. No matter who you are, no matter how much you prepare, you will face moments when things fall apart. You will face failure. You will face rejection. You will face days when nothing seems to go right, when the weight feels too heavy, and when your emotions scream at you to give up. In those moments, what separates those who rise from those who fall is not talent, not luck, not even intelligence. It is resilience. Resilience is the ability to keep moving forward even when everything in you wants to stop. It is the ability to rise after being knocked down, to rebuild after being broken, to push forward when your emotions tell you to surrender. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It is about refusing to let pain define you. Think about it. Every great success story you know is really a story of resilience. The athlete who trains for years despite losses and injuries until finally standing victorious. The entrepreneur who fails business after business before finally building something that lasts. The artist who faces endless rejection before finally being recognized. None of them escaped failure, rejection, or discouragement. The difference was that they didn't let those emotions break them. They turned pain into fuel and setbacks into stepping stones. That is resilience in action. Emotions in difficult times can be overwhelming. Fear tells you that the future is hopeless. Sadness convinces you that you are too broken to continue. Frustration insists that the struggle is pointless. These emotions are loud and they can easily control you if you let them. But resilience is the voice that whispers back, "This is not the end. I will rise again." Resilience is the strength to stand tall in the middle of the storm and declare that no matter how strong the winds blow, they will not blow you over. Resilience is not about being unshaken. You will feel the pain. You will feel the fear. You will feel the sadness. Resilience is about choosing to move forward despite them. It is about bending without breaking, stumbling without staying down, crying without quitting. People sometimes mistake resilience for toughness, as if resilient people never feel vulnerable. But the truth is, resilient people feel everything deeply. The only difference is that they do not let those emotions control their story. They let their determination write the ending. One of the most powerful truths about resilience is that it can be trained. You are not born resilient. You become resilient through experience. Every time life knocks you down and you get back up, you build resilience. Every time you fail and try again, you strengthen your resilience. Every time you push forward in the face of pain, you sharpen your resilience. It is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows stronger the more you use it. Some of the greatest leaders and change makers in history are remembered not for how easy their lives were, but for how resilient they were in the face of adversity. They faced struggles most of us cannot imagine, yet they refused to quit. They chose to rise again and again, no matter how many times life tried to break them. And their resilience became their legacy. That same resilience exists in you. It may be buried under doubt, fear, or exhaustion, but it is there. Every time you have survived something you thought would destroy you, every time you have healed from heartbreak, every time you have made it through a hard season, you proved your resilience. The truth is, resilience is your weapon against the emotions that want to break you. When fear says stop, resilience says go anyway. When sadness says you can't, resilience says I will. When anger says quit, resilience says keep moving. Your emotions may try to chain you, but resilience breaks those chains and reminds you that you are stronger than any feeling. Resilience also changes the way you see challenges. Instead of seeing them as proof that you are failing, you begin to see them as opportunities to grow. Every challenge becomes training for your mind. Every setback becomes preparation for your next breakthrough. Every obstacle becomes a test of your strength. And the more you endure, the more confident you become in your ability to face whatever comes next. This confidence does not come from never falling. It comes from knowing you can rise every single time you do. In practical terms, resilience means refusing to let temporary emotions create permanent decisions. It means that even when you feel like quitting, you tell yourself, I will not decide from this place of pain. You give yourself time to recover. You breathe, you reset, and then you take the next step. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. Sometimes resilience is simply the decision to take one more step when you thought you couldn't. One step at a time, one day at a time, and eventually you look back and realize you've climbed mountains you once thought were impossible. What's important to understand is that resilience is not just about surviving, it's about transforming. The pain you endure shapes you, teaches you, strengthens you. Every scar becomes a reminder not of your weakness, but of your survival. Every setback becomes a reminder not of your failure, but of your growth. Resilience turns your past struggles into the very foundation of your future strength. So when life knocks you down, and it will, remember that resilience is your weapon. Pick yourself back up. Wipe the tears if you must, but keep going. Remind yourself that the story is not over, that the emotion you feel is temporary, but the strength you gain is permanent. Your emotions may want to break you, but resilience will build you. Your emotions may tell you to stop, but resilience will carry you forward. At the end of the day, resilience is what proves that your mind is stronger than your emotions. Because resilience says, I feel the pain, but I choose progress. I feel the fear, but I choose courage. I feel the defeat, but I choose to rise. And when you live with that kind of resilience, there is nothing life can throw at you that you cannot overcome. There is a reason why some people remain steady in the storm while others are swept away. There is a reason why some continue to move forward no matter how heavy their emotions become, while others collapse under the weight of fear, doubt, or sadness. That reason is purpose. Purpose is the anchor that keeps you grounded when everything around you feels uncertain. Purpose is the compass that points you forward when emotions are pulling you in 100 different directions. Without purpose, emotions become your master. With purpose, your mind becomes the leader. When you live without purpose, life feels random. You wake up each day reacting to whatever happens. If something good comes, you feel good. If something bad comes, you feel bad. Your emotions rise and fall like the tide, and you are tossed around with no direction. But when you live with purpose, you wake up with clarity. You know where you are going. And because you know where you are going, your emotions cannot easily distract you. Fear may whisper, don't try, but your purpose answers, I must. Doubt may say, you can't, but your purpose responds, I will. Sadness may tell you, it's over, but your purpose reminds you, it's not finished. Purpose does not remove emotions, but it gives you a reason to rise above them. Think about the moments in your life when you felt unstoppable. Chances are you were not free from fear or exhaustion. You simply had something so important to you that it outweighed the emotion. A parent will endure sleepless nights for their child because the purpose of love is greater than the discomfort. An athlete will push through pain in training because the purpose of victory is greater than the struggle. A dreamer will face rejection after rejection because the purpose of building something meaningful is greater than the sting of failure. Purpose is the power that turns ordinary people into extraordinary warriors. The problem is, many people never discover their purpose. They drift through life chasing comfort, pleasure, or approval, but never something deeper. As a result, their emotions control them because emotions always win when there is no greater cause to fight for. But the moment you discover your purpose, whether it's building a business, raising a family, serving others, creating art, or changing the world, you find a strength inside you that emotions cannot shake. Purpose makes you stronger than the waves of emotion because it reminds you that what you are fighting for matters more than what you are feeling in the moment. Purpose is also what gives meaning to your struggles. Without purpose, pain feels pointless. With purpose, pain feels productive. A person without purpose sees failure as proof they should quit. A person with purpose sees failure as part of the journey. A person without purpose sees obstacles as walls. A person with purpose sees obstacles as tests. Purpose changes how you interpret everything. And once you change the meaning, you change your emotions. Instead of feeling defeated, you feel determined. Instead of feeling hopeless, you feel hungry. Instead of feeling lost, you feel guided. That is the power of leading with purpose. It transforms your inner world so that no external challenge can destroy you. When your emotions try to take control, purpose reminds you of your why. Your why is bigger than the fear. Your why is stronger than the anger. Your why is deeper than the sadness. This is why people with purpose achieve more, endure more, and inspire more. They are not stronger because they don't feel emotions. They are stronger because their purpose gives them a reason to keep going no matter how strong those emotions become. Living with purpose also creates focus. It helps you filter your choices. When you know your purpose, you no longer waste energy on distractions. You no longer chase things that don't matter. You no longer let emotions push you into decisions that are not aligned with your future. Purpose simplifies your life because everything becomes a question of alignment. Does this bring me closer to my purpose or further away? If it brings you closer, you continue. If it pulls you away, you let it go. That kind of clarity makes your mind stronger, sharper, and more resilient than any emotion could ever be. The truth is, emotions are temporary, but purpose is permanent. Emotions change from day to day, even moment to moment. You might wake up feeling unmotivated, but your purpose doesn't change. You might face rejection and feel discouraged, but your purpose doesn't disappear. You might fail and feel broken, but your purpose still calls you forward. Purpose outlasts emotions, and that is why it is the greatest force you can use to train your mind. Finding your purpose is not always easy, but it begins with asking yourself the deeper questions. What do I truly value? What impact do I want to make? What do I want my life to stand for? Your purpose doesn't have to be grand in the eyes of the world. It simply has to be meaningful to you. Whether it is leading your family, building your career, serving your community, or following a dream, your purpose is the fire that keeps your mind lit, even when your emotions try to blow it out. Once you find that purpose, you must hold on to it. Write it down, remind yourself of it daily. Let it guide your decisions, your actions, and your mindset. When fear arises, remember your purpose. When doubt creeps in, remember your purpose. When sadness weighs you down, remember your purpose. That reminder will reignite your strength, refocus your energy, and return control to your mind. So lead your life with purpose. Let it be your anchor, your compass, your guiding light. Let it be the reason you rise every morning and the strength that carries you through every night. Because when you live with purpose, your mind will always be stronger than your emotions, And when your mind is stronger than your emotions, there is no storm, no obstacle, and no setback that can stop you from becoming everything you were created to be